It's time for today's travel and cruise industry news. With the latest from travel and cruises around the world, here's your host, Chillie Falls.
Good morning. Welcome to Travel and Cruise Industry News on this Monday morning, December 26th, coming to you from Bedford County, Central Virginia area. And at least, folks, today, finally, I feel a little better. It's the first day that I've gone in the right direction. Now, no, I'm not over it yet. This Christmas crud has been hell. You can tell my voice is not back 100% to normal, but at least it's better. And now I'm not coughing as badly as I did. And yes, for the last 2 days, I have been drinking your tea elixir stuff that you have suggested until I feel like my ears are going to turn to tea. But anyway, finally, at least I'm heading in the right direction. Got a couple news stories to cover today. Now, Carnival has dialed back their new ship orders. Are they in trouble? 2 ships delayed by Winter Storm Elliot. Taiwan to start limited ferry service to mainland China. And over 5 million passengers visited Mexico in 2022. That and much more here at 11 o'clock this morning. Today is what our friends across the pond call National Boxing Day. It's kind of like our Black Friday, kind of, sort of. But anyway, we hope all you guys over there have a very successful National Boxing Day. If you're listening via the podcast, you're always welcome here. Of course, the podcast can be accessed via my blog, which is accessadventure.net, or wherever you get your podcast from. Just search for Travel and Cruise Industry News. Doesn't matter if it's TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Pandora, any of them. Just search and up pops the Fat Travel Guy. Anytime you're listening via the podcast, if you want to jump over to check out any pictures or clips we may be using, the description of the podcast has a link to access the video feed. So feel free to do so. Excuse me. I'm going to try to do today's show without coughing. All right, let's see if I can get back at it now. All right, the important news story we'll get to in just a second. Today's show, again, is partially sponsored by Scootaround and Will Power Chairs. Great people. If you have any kind of mobility challenges and any kind of needs, whether it's to buy, to rent, to lease, whatever, whether you're going on a cruise, you're going to a hotel, you just have needs, give them a call. It can't hurt. In the description to all my videos, you'll find the phone number, my SRN number. Call them. Just ask. Who knows? They'll probably be able to help you. All right, I'll be back with today's news right after a quick word from one of our network sponsors. All right, top story today has to deal with Carnival. The world's largest ship owner, Carnival Corporation, also the debt-laden parent company of major cruise line brands like Carnival Cruise Line, Carnival, Holland America, Princess, and more. During a conference call with Wall Street analysts, Last week, Josh Weinstein, the corporation CEO, suggested they will not be ordering many new ships with deliveries over the rest of the decade. The cruise giant could soon go an entire year without unveiling a single new rebuild across any of its brands, which is something that has never happened in its recent history. During the call, which came after the cruise company reported yet another $1 billion plus loss for the most recent quarter, Weinstein said they do not expect any ships in 2026 and anticipated just one or two new builds each year for several years thereafter. Carnival's pipeline of new ships on order is already running thin. The company has just 5 ships on order for its 9 brands now, and they were all ordered before the COVID crisis. The new vessels for Carnival Cruise Line and Seabourn are scheduled for inauguration in 2023, and new builds for Princess and Cunard in 2024. One Princess ship is scheduled at this point for 2025. Also last week, the company reported a total debt of $34.55 billion, up less than $12 billion at the start of 2020. For context, Carnival made $2.9 billion in profits this last year of growth in 2019. As Carnival returns to profitability over the coming years, the corporation plans to channel much of its cash flow toward paying down debt in lieu of capital spending on things like new ships. Carnival expecting an occupancy rate of 90% across its 9 cruise brands as an average in the first quarter of 2023, according to Vice President CFO David Bernstein. That's up 54% to start 2022 in the first quarter as the company continues to close the occupancy gap following the restart. Still leaves the main question, is Carnival in trouble? In my opinion, sure, they are. Are they doing the right things? Yeah, it seems like it. They're doing things like cutting costs, even if it's just, trimming a little cost here and there. Just last week, they announced they're eliminating 3 more of the older and not so efficient ships. They're slowing down expenditures as much as they can in a time of inflation. So at least it looks like they're not recklessly forging ahead as it might appear that they've done the last few years. It does seem like there is a little more physical responsibility being shown currently. Now, would I own their stock? No. I just couldn't in clear conscience at this point buy their stock. But I mean, being a physically conservative person, which I am, I certainly think management is heading in the right direction. I have to see some more numbers first before I can say, okay, let's go invest some money. So, yeah, they're in trouble. Do I see them closing down? No. I could see them, there were 4 or 5 other older ships that were mentioned in the article we did last week on 3 ships are going to leave. We don't know what the 3 are yet. I could see them going through 4 or 5 more ships and trying to switch things over to the newer ships. That's a good possibility. But no, yes, they're in trouble. No, they're not going to go out of business. The cruise business is here to stay. Yeah. Now, get it to the point of it being profitable, that's going to still take a while, I think. All right. Winter Storm Elliot did cause two cruise ships to be delayed. New York City can certainly be a magical place during the holiday season, but Elliot has brought temperatures in the single digits, massive wind gusts of up to 55 miles per hour, which has caused all sorts of travel snarls, congested flights, and potential whiteout conditions. Even cruise ships were impacted by the storm. Both Norwegian Gem and Norwegian Getaway remain docked rather than beginning their current sailings in unsafe conditions, which also include high waves that made pilot guidance out of New York Harbor impossible. Sailing from New York City, both ships were held in port until the conditions improved, have now set sail with the necessary itinerary changes having been made. So they're off and running at least, but in both cases about a day late. Taiwan is taking steps to restart the many transport links to mainland China. Ferry services are the first to be restored in stages starting in January 2023. A full reopening depends on how soon Beijing can contain the surge in COVID infections in mainland China, Taiwanese officials revealed at the end of the week last week. The connections were launched back in 2001 and are part of the so-called three mini links, transport, trade, and postal, between Taiwan's offshore islets of Quemoy, also popular as Kinmen, Matsu, and Xiamen, Maui, Gansao, and China's mainland province of Fujian. Taiwan, Taiwan suspended the transport links back in February of 2020 because of concerns over the COVID outbreak in mainland China. So they still got to get their act together before Taiwan opens the door wide. Tremendous year for Mexico. Since cruising resumed early last year, Mexico has firmly reestablished itself as one of the most popular cruise destinations worldwide. With Cozumel, the country has the busiest port of call in the world, and destinations on both sides of the country continue to draw cruise ships and their passengers in large numbers. The majority of 2041 cruise ships and 5.1 million passengers arrived in 6 key ports: Cozumel, Costa Maya, Ensenada, Cabo, Puerto Vallarta, and Mazatlan. These 6 ports welcomed a combined total of 94.6% of all cruise passengers arriving in Mexico from January to October. It's not likely to change this year either. As a matter of fact, I'm starting to look now, folks. I'm not jumping at booking anything quickly, but I am tracking a couple things, looking for a dip. One is a celebrity cruise out of Los Angeles in April. If I do that, I will probably piggyback it with maybe a Princess or a Carnival ship the week before, the week after, whichever I can work out the best deal on. So that if I fly to California, what I think about flying, but if I fly to California, I'd at least do 2 cruises at least out of it before I come home. We're looking. So we'll see how pricing goes as we get into the new year. Speaking of the new year, guys, I hope everybody had a lovely Christmas. We have been without water for a couple days. The pipes did let loose yesterday and gave us some water back. We're not near at the strength that it should be, but at least we've got some running water now. There for a couple days, we were completely had no water. So, and it's too early to tell if there's been any damage to the pipes or if it was just a temporary blockage. Who knows? It's been cold, and it's been, pretty for this part of the country, extremely cold. We've been down in single digits every night. Supposed to warm a little today, a little more tomorrow. So we're heading in the right direction with that. And I'm sure that'll help me get rid of this cold or whatever this crud is. All right, in the chat room, Mike's with us. Hi, Mike. Hot Air Tom's here. Where do they celebrate St. Stephen's Day? Never heard of that holiday, just Boxing Day for the UK. I've never heard of St. Stephen's Day either. But yeah, Boxing Day, that's, I've heard of that all my life. Otter says, good morning to everyone. Kevin's with us, 30 and a wake up. Good morning, Kevin. Good King Wenceslas looked out on the feast of Stephen. St. Stephen was the first Christian martyr. Feast day celebrated on December 26th in Western Christianity and 27th in Eastern Christianity. There you go. See there, my guys come up with the answer to everything. Thanks, Mike. Robert Lamb is with us. Hi, everyone. Nikki's here. Hi, Nikki. How's things down in Jacksonville? A complaint against you Florida folks. How's that? My niece and nephew down there that live down near West Palm, a little north of West Palm, sent us a box of oranges for the holidays. And Mr. Gene likes to squeeze oranges for breakfast. But man, you got to squeeze and squeeze and squeeze and squeeze to get any juice out of them. They're just not as nice and juicy as they used to be. To get 3 juice glasses of fresh orange juice, had to go through 4 oranges. So they're not going to last long that way. Robert says, my sister lives in Jacksonville. 45 degrees in Jacksonville. Yeah, that's too cold for down there, too. I'll be happy to see 45 here today. But yeah, it's just been brutally cold, guys. All right, just a word of caution for tomorrow. I have a doctor's appointment at 8 o'clock in the morning, which is for an annual checkup. I should be in and out of there in an hour, and it's only 10 minutes from here. So I should easily be back home in time to start the show. I'm not planning on pre-recording. I'm not planning on, any of the measures that I take. But if something should happen, I'm longer than I deemed possible, I'll either get John to start the show or just wait till I get back if I'm just a couple minutes. Yeah. So if I'm not on the air when I'm supposed to be, you'll know something has happened, and that's just a little late getting back. But I am I'm hoping to do everything like normal tomorrow. That's at least my plan at this time. So That's going to wrap it up for today, folks. I hope everybody had a great holiday, continues to have a great holiday. Of course, Happy New Year's coming up. I have chatted a bit back and forth with Elizabeth down in Australia. We're hoping to start the New Year's off with a New Year's Eve kickoff from Sydney, Australia, which should be about the time for the show that day, or close, pretty close at least. So we're going to see how that's going to work out. So, all right, guys, you guys have a fantastic day. I'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. As always, stay safe, stay healthy, think about cruising. Hopefully one day soon we'll all get together on the high seas. Have a wonderful day, everybody. See you tomorrow.
I regularly post videos on all facets of the travel and cruise industry, so if you'd like to keep up with the latest in cruise ships, ports of call, cruises themselves, Chillie chats, and travel and cruise industry news, just hit the little subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner, hit the bell notification so you'll be notified when a new video is up or we go live. This video was produced by Chillie's Cruises.